Welcome to SAP's biggest meeting ever. We hope you are all as excited as we are. SAP has finally made it to the Netherlands, which is a completely new venture for us, and we are so thrilled to be able to share the experience with all of you. My name is Amal.
And I'm Shubham, and we're both IB diploma students at the ABA, which is an international IB World School.
Later today, we will also be accompanied by Sophie van Wersch, who is an ABA graduate and former SAP leader, and is a current student at the University College Maastricht.
Before we delve into what SAP does, the theme today is how we shape the world. How many of you believe that you can?
Show of hands.
We're taking that first step today by being at this TEDxYouth conference. We lead a student-organized group called Students Against Prejudice, and we want to share one way that we've helped shape the world with you.
SAP, also known as Students Against Prejudice, was founded at Wichita High School East in Kansas, USA in 2001. The whole initiative was started by a group of youth, just like you and me, who were interested and wanted to make a positive change in their world and shape their world into a better place. These students began a tradition of being actively involved in self-reflection and promoting social awareness in their society.
Amal and I, along with 3 other student leaders, attempt to stimulate and encourage an atmosphere of diversity and understanding in our school, on our campus, in our community, and in our region. We work hard to promote SAP's mission, to fight the act of discrimination through promoting social awareness, acceptance, understanding, and unity.
We believe that in order for an individual to shape their world, they must find innovative solutions to society's most pressing social problems. This is exactly who we are and what we do. All 3 of us are ambitious in sharing a program model for wide-scale change. In SAP, we work as a community of allies in which we exchange ideas and perspectives, build local and regional programs, and commit to the process of change. We actively pursue an ideal of equality and peace as an attainable concept, instead of the abstract form it is for which it is most often perceived. We also realize and advocate that positive change is at first an introspective process before it can be manifested externally. That introspection is the vehicle of change and understanding. We do this by seeking situations that put us out of our comfort zone, much like this speech, in which results in a deeper appreciation and respect for others.
Let me ask you this. How often do you actually stop and think about the prejudice that you consciously or unconsciously hold? You can put your hands up because this is interactive. Well, in SAP, we continually think about our biases by reflecting on this particular question. Amal and I are 2 members of SAP's student officer team, meaning we plan and lead workshop once a week, an organized activity that complements our mission statement. In these workshops and events, we focus on creating activities and opportunities that promote active self-reflection. We focus on a variety of issues relating to prejudice, such as racism, classism, sexism, ableism, ageism, heterosexism, religious intolerance, and more. We provide students with the opportunity to develop their voice. We hold school-wide activities with global backgrounds, such as Peace Day, Kindness Week, Mix It Up Day, and Day of Silence. We engage with our community and put ourselves in situations where we interact with people with whom we would not usually. We've held baking classes at the Philippine Embassy Steakhouse. We've talked and spent time with Bangladeshi and Pakistani migrant workers. And most recently, we participated in Live Below the Line. Let me ask you this. How many of you guys think that you could live off $1 a day for a week for food? For those of you who don't think you can, you can. We did exactly this 2 weeks ago so that we could gain a deeper understanding of living below the poverty line. All of these activities provide opportunities and time for self-reflection that we would not usually find.
Now, a student-led group usually consists of members from the same kind of background. However, one of the most incredible things about our group is the cultural diversity. SAP consists of students from over 30 countries worldwide, with each individual having a different perspective on life. This serves as our basis and our inspiration for making our community a more open-minded and reflective place. Some individuals may question how an initiative like SAP is successful in 2 contrasting places like Middle America and the Middle East. The truth is, SAP can be successful anywhere, so long as one characteristic is fostered and celebrated: the willingness to unlearn. Every SAP member comes from a unique and dynamic culture that has influenced them throughout their lives, and ABA SAP has roughly 70 members alone. So, how do all the members connect? They are all united through one passion, and that's their willingness to reflect upon what they've been taught. It's important for everyone to know that it's the SAP members who initiate the change. While we may be the instigators of different activities, it's the SAP members who come back week after week to embrace SAP's ideals. This same process is inherently applied to us as well, as we, the officers, members, and teachers, are constantly finding out new things about our own prejudices. We are not exempt from having prejudices, but we do work to put ourselves in environments where we demand ourselves to face them.
As we continue to unlearn our idea of prejudices, we start to become increasingly aware of the people around us and how the public perceives them. First appearances are what many of us judge character on, regardless of being a subconscious or conscious decision. Using this experiment, an experiment was conducted last year, and I'd like to try it with you guys. So here's a picture. What are the first few words that come into your mind when you see it? You can yell it out. Beer. Well, last time when we did this, we heard things like poor, illiterate, exotic, and scary. This is actually a picture of Najardine, who's the main figure in this children's book called Najardine's Magical Garden, which happens to be a book that promotes friendship and diversity. This same man invites students into his home to Bangladesh. You'll hear more about that from Sophie later. When I did this activity, I was surprised to find out that the man that I perceived to be friendly was Ted Bundy, a serial killer. And the man that I'd perceived to be a religious leader was Humble the Poet. This was astounding, as it didn't just force me to think about how I judge people every second of every day in my life, but it's also important that when we're approached with new ideas and new people, we take their experiences into consideration, even though sometimes it might get the better of our judgment. Even though this is a natural response to judge people, we must know that whether or not the judgment that we're making is detrimental to the community around us or the individual.
Shubham and I know the majority of the students in our high school, which is a perk of a relatively small student body. We do get to spend time with them and hang out and talk, but we don't necessarily talk about deep or intimate matters. However, one day I became involved in a conversation with a student, and we were talking about SAP. We were specifically talking about a discussion we had regarding homophobia and heterosexuality. They told me, and they felt comfortable enough to say this, that when they started SAP at the beginning of 10th grade, they were extremely homophobic. They said that their life experiences had taught them their prejudices, but that their involvement in SAP had given them the opportunity to see different perspectives. This student had gone from being extremely homophobic to being largely supportive and accepting of homosexual people in a relatively short amount of time.
This is just one example, but quite honestly, I think it's remarkable. They're individuals who go through their own whole lives reflecting or not reflecting on prejudices that they've faced. The risk that somebody's preconceived notions may prevent them from relating to people who are completely different from them is scary, but it has so much to offer. This student was young, they still are. They're 16 years of age, but yet they're increasingly aware of their prejudices and beliefs around them. They realize that different people have different things to offer them, and the same goes for the other way around. This student had one personal yet valuable life experience, which will most likely continue to affect them and the people around them for the rest of their lives.
Now, we want to be clear. SAP is not about changing how people think. We are not interested in arguing with administrations or debating with political figures. Instead, we focus on instilling others with a voice and giving them the opportunity to voice their opinions. We support encouraging people to think for themselves, which in some cases is the first time they're given this opportunity. We try to promote active self-reflection through which we can foster positive change in the world. This young person's story is one of many.
Amal and I are student leaders of SAP, like I said before, but we believe it's important to mention how we encourage the development and leadership skills of other SAP students. How many of you guys have had the opportunity to play wheelchair basketball? That's what I thought. Basically, one student had organized these events for SAP members so that they could take a part in it. It's important because SAP isn't really about us, the officers, but it's about the members that actively embody the SAP ideals.
As we previously mentioned, SAP works to put us in situations that are out of our comfort zone, like this speech. Every year since 2009, a few extremely dedicated SAP members travel to Gush Khandi in Bangladesh. Here, all the unlearning in the classroom and SAP's mission statement is put to use in the real world, as students strive to learn about a new culture, way of life, and people.
Since Amal and I are just seniors and this trip is reserved for graduates only, we have Sophie van Wersch here to talk about it with you guys.
Hi guys, I'm Sophie, and I'm going to explain a bit about my trip. So sometimes in life you're given opportunities to go beyond what you're used to. Then you try to surpass these boundaries and barriers that have been placed in your life. I bring this up because my experience with SAP has embodied this entirely. I was lucky enough to have joined in about year 10, and at the time I had no idea how much of an impact it would make on my life. I was able to be a leader, and I really enjoyed it. Being able to share your knowledge with other students and even further it was something completely eye-opening for me. But one of the largest opportunities I got to experience while in SAP was the Bangladesh initiative. Before I discuss like a personal experience there, I'd like to tell you what we do throughout the year. We give people the opportunity to choose between 3 options. Obviously, you don't have to choose any of them. It's your decision. But the 3 options are a loan, a year's worth of education, or a chicken or a goat. To briefly explain what each of these things are, the chicken or the goat, I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with, but is basically the one-hen project, where you give a family or a child a chicken or a goat, and rather than consuming the animal, they use it for their income, or they use the eggs or the milk for themselves and their family. As for the loan and the year's worth of education, it's pretty much self-explanatory. The loan, we give it to a child with the intention that they can do whatever they want with it, but in 2 years' time, we do expect it back. But it teaches them a lesson. And not only that, but it also shows us whether we can work with them in the future as well. As for the year's worth of education, it's for a family who's not financially stable to support a child to go through all the years of school. Now, a year's worth of education and all of these options are only 10 euros. Or roughly around that. But I'm not trying to tell you this so you can feel bad or to make you feel guilty. That's completely not the idea. I want you guys to understand that one small action has a large outcome. Now, the next thing I'm going to mention is an actual moment I had in Bangladesh, which really changed my life. I was lucky enough to meet a little boy called Rabi. My friend and I, we were teaching several students in the class simple mathematics and how to spell words. We would randomly choose on a child and have them do different things on the board. But one time, my friend decided to choose this shy little boy in the back. And we gave him a simple 14 plus 8. But unlike his other fellow students, he got it immediately. It just clicked. So my friend pushed him until he was able to do mathematical equations, multiplication and division in the 10,000s. I like to remind you that this kid was only 9 years old. And at the time, when I was his age, I definitely wasn't able to do something like that. Robbie will never know the impact that he had made on my life and also on my friend's life. But it was people like him that we met during Bangladesh, as well as Najardine, who we felt a connection with. But this connection was made without any words. There is another barrier that we face, language. I did not speak Bengali, and so do many other students who have in the past and in the future when they were in Bangladesh. But that didn't stop us from really connecting with these people. They really made an impact on our life, and maybe they'll never know about it, but it still is really significant. I feel that after my trip to Bangladesh, it would be over. And it really scared me. I had almost had the biggest life-changing experience for me, and I was worried that it would be nothing more than a memory, something I look back on when I'm older. Then during the summer, I decided to look back on the journal that I had kept while in Bangladesh. And when I was looking through it, I realized that it really had an impact on my life, and I didn't want it to end. And at the time, I was trying to decide what I wanted to do with my life, my path, who I wanted to be, what I wanted to do, all of that. And as a 17-year-old girl in the summer, I was really confused. To decide something like that just didn't click with me. But then my journal showed me that I didn't want to have all my SAP experiences go to waste. So I've decided to go into human rights. I guess you can say that I'm really grateful for all that SAP has done for me, and I actually wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for them. Thank you.
Before we end our presentation, we would like to leave on this last note. Shubham, Sophie, and I stepped into our roles as SAP leaders because we were passionate about SAP's mission and wanted to implement the ideals into our life. It's been a challenging yet rewarding journey as we've developed our leadership skills and strive to expand SAP's impact on ourselves, school, community, and world. We hope you did end up finding this presentation of value, and that you find in your life something that inspires you to actively engage in the world, regardless of how that may be. We are all limitless, and we all have the ability to change the world, so long as we work together. Thank you.